All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Friday, April 11th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That's Jake Jimerson. This is All In Horns, brought to you by Rogue Sports Network. And we talked a little football yesterday, so today we're going to go dive deep into Texas baseball and softball and give you a couple updates. This is kind of what we want our schedule to look like, is that come towards, Thursday, Friday, we'll give you a recap as to what happened on Tuesday night's games. And then we will, or Wednesday night's games, with softball, but we will also kind of preview the upcoming series and conference play before the weekend gets going. Both teams go into series starting tonight. Women's softball, they have Tennessee at home, number 5 team in the country right now. And then you've also got on the baseball side of things going to Lexington in Kentucky, and should be going in as the number 2 team, should be the heavy favorites against the Kentucky Wildcats baseball team. But again, it's SEC baseball, so can't hold anything back, can't hold your breath. But let's go ahead and start with softball, Jake. We'll start off with them, and then we'll wrap up the show talking about the baseball side of things. On Wednesday night, Texas beat Texas State in Austin 10-1. Run ruled them by the 5th inning. Game was called. Game over. And so had 12 hits to Texas State's 4 hits. And it was a pretty good showing for Mac Morgan. And she is now 7-1 on the season for pitching for the Longhorns. But yeah, a good outing for softball yet again, beating Texas State, and now hopefully prepped, ready to go. A shorter game, a little bit of rest possibly, as they take on Tennessee this weekend in a big one.
Yeah, got the bats going a little bit, which it's Texas State. It's not, Tennessee. But the bats weren't great against Missouri. And Missouri's not a terrible team. They took down OU this year. So they are capable of taking down good teams, and they still swept them. But, couple just gigantic series. I mean, their next 6 games are 3-10 against Tennessee, and 3 against LSU, and you get them all at home. You definitely can't drop both series. You got to take at least one, and they're very capable of taking both. They're going to be the favorites in both. And with them being at home, those are the kind of series you got to win. In the SEC's tough in softball, just like it is baseball. So when you get those series at home, even though it's a really good team, those series where you're favored, those are the ones you got to win. And I think we're going to learn. I mean, I say this, but they're sitting at 38-3 on the year, and they do have a great series win against Florida. Don't want to go back and make that mistake I made the other night on the episode. And so we know this team is definitely capable, but I think now that we're going to get, kind of back to back really hard series, and the only game in between those games that's non-conference is against a ranked Oklahoma State team. Yeah. We're going to have a really good idea coming out of the stretch. Can they win a national title, or are they still just that step short like they have been in the last several years, which has been national title appearances? It's been making the World Series every year, but just haven't quite been able to get over that hump as far as winning a national title goes. Right. And so I think we'll have a pretty good idea of whether this could be the year after these games.
That is easier said than done. I mean, Oklahoma is the Yukon of softball. I mean, yes. They are the hill that you have to get over if you're going to win a national championship. You're not going to be able to win a national championship unless you go through Oklahoma at some point in time. And Texas has just not been able to overcome that hill whenever they need to the most. Now, I'll be very interested to see how they play against this Tennessee team, and if they can come out and win. I mean, you and I, we've discussed, if you're a top 2, top 3, top 10 team in the country and you've got a home conference series, you need to at least win that series. That's inexcusable to lose the series. But if Texas can come away with a clean sweep and look really good, I think you're setting yourself up for a very successful backstretch of conference play going into SEC tournament play.
You win these two series and you let it fly at the OU. You try to obviously avoid. You try to at least take one. Then you go from there. You try to take the first one and then you kind of go from there. I'm not going to really say the expectation is to win that series because that's easier said than done. But I do expect them to beat in Oklahoma State, even though that is at Oklahoma State. Curious how they'll do travel for that. Will they just stay in Oklahoma after they play Oklahoma State on Wednesday versus traveling back to Texas, then going right back to Oklahoma a day later, basically? But like Oklahoma run ruled Oklahoma State earlier this week. And so, Texas needs to dominate Oklahoma State as well. But first, you got to get through Tennessee and LSU. I don't think we have to worry about a look ahead game going into OU other than maybe Oklahoma State, because Tennessee and LSU are too good to do that with.
Also, both at home. So, I mean, the fact that you get Tennessee and LSU in Austin, very helpful on the schedule.
Four more series left on the softball schedule.
God, it just seems like it's gone by so fast. But yeah, they've also played 42 games, so or 41 games.
Yeah, it's because they played 20 of them in like the first week. It felt like
is what it felt like.
I don't know how the softball ladies do it. They're tough. Softball have some tough players in it with the schedules they play and the pitchers. I know it's an underhand mode. I get the science of it. I don't care. It's hard work. I wouldn't want to be doing it.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, it's crazy to think only four series left, only one more non-conference game left, which is the game at Oklahoma State. So we're in the final stretch here for softball before you get into SEC tournament play, and then you start the quest for the Women's College World Series.
Yeah, and that will begin in early May. So really, about a month of softball left before we get into postseason play for the ladies. And so just quick shout out again: Texas won in 5 innings against Texas State last night, on Wednesday night, 10-1. And Reese Atwood, she had 3 at bats, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. So big night for the 4 spot there for the catcher behind home plate. She was kind of MVP, if you will, at least in the batter's box. And then obviously on the mound, Mac Morgan got her 7th win of the season. And so, again, this team is rolling, playing good. Just need to improve play. And I think, like we said, Jake, Tennessee LSU series will show a lot of what we can kind of expect come postseason play for this Texas team. All right, flipping it over to baseball. They had a big win over Houston Christian. Again, those Tuesday night games have not always been the easiest games for Texas this year. For whatever reason, they keep dropping the Tuesday night games. But they do get a 7-inning win over Houston Christian in Austin. 12-2 was the final in that one. Jason Flores with his 3rd win on the season, pitching from the mound. I believe he allowed the 2 runs, but allowed the 2 runs. He had 3 hitters, but still a good game overall from the boys. And took care of business when they needed to. Yeah,
just kind of put them down. Fairly quickly. They got up 5-0 or actually 6-0 in the 2nd inning. So kind of had it put away quickly, which is what you want to do on a Tuesday night game against an opponent you should beat. And I think Schlossnagle was probably pressing that they needed to play better on these Tuesday games, regardless of who's out there, who's getting opportunities. Just because, you dropped the UTSA game. Okay, UTSA is a good team. They pitched multiple starters. They went all out to win it, and they won it. But the Texas State game was a little bit more disappointing because, again, this is not the same Texas State team from the last couple of years. And so they took this game, I think, a little bit more seriously just because it was getting weird to lose to UTSA, sweep a good SEC team, lose to and have some injuries, and then you lose to Texas State, and you're like, are these injuries going to derail things? And then you sweep a top 3 team, at home. And so I think there's a little more emphasis put on this Tuesday game. But now you got kind of a trap series coming up against a Kentucky team who isn't ranked. So you go, a break. That's how you feel in SEC play. But this is not a bad baseball team in Kentucky. I mean, going into conference play, they were still ranked. So they've lost their ranking conference play. They've had to be terrible, right? They lost a very close series to Georgia, or fairly close series. The 2 games they lost, they did lose by 6 and 7, but they did win a game sandwiched in between there. They won the Saturday game 10-7, so they lost the series to Georgia at Georgia 2-1. I'm not going to talk about the non-conference games. They haven't done well in those Tuesday night games, but it happens across the country every week.
But here is one thing. They lost to Louisville. Texas lost to them very early on in the season.
Louisville was unranked when Texas lost to them. Louisville's top 11 now.
They're number 11 right now in the country, and then did lose their series to Ole Miss, who Texas did beat in a day later after playing Louisville. So oddly enough, kind of had a same back-to-back with Ole Miss and Louisville, but lost 2 out of the 3 to Ole Miss. And Kentucky is on a 3-game losing skid. At home, Kentucky's not going to want to continue that 3-game losing skid.
Yeah, and 3-game losing skid to top 11 teams in the country, because you look elsewhere, lost a very close series to Auburn 2-1, where the 2 games they lost were 7-8 and 7-8, and then they won 6-0. Beat A&M at A&M, and then lost to Ole Miss in a series that was 2-1. So they've lost their series losses, and again, their 2 losses to Ole Miss were 1-3 and 4-5. So they've lost all their series losses have been to ranked really good SEC teams, and they've all been 2-1. No one swept them. It's not like they're not ranked, but they were ranked going to SEC play. They've lost that ranking by just going 1-2 in series against really good teams. And then their one series win is at A&M. This Kentucky team is not a bad baseball team. And this is, to me, this is a good test for this Texas baseball team. They've showed up for the big dogs. They took down Missouri. Missouri is horrendous. I don't put much stock into that series win. They're the worst team in SEC play. It's not close. And then you did beat Mississippi State, but it was easy to get up for that one. It's your first SEC conference play. I'm excited to see how they do this weekend, because it's not getting up for a top 5 team in the nation. Can you get up and play to your standard against what is a really good unranked team on the road, when you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself coming off these last 4 wins?
Yeah, Kentucky is 5-7 in conference play, kind of sitting middle of the pack right now. But they get a big series win over the number 2 team in the country, and then they can start making a push come SEC tournament time, and maybe get on a roll. So their season not dead by any stretch of the imagination. So, but Jake, anything else that we want to talk about with this baseball team? I know they still have UTRGV. Coming up after this
Rio Grande Valley.
Okay, Rio Grande Valley. I was like, I don't even know who that is. But then
they lost to them like a couple years ago or maybe his last year with Pierce as the coach. It was a really bad loss.
But yeah, and then you've got Auburn, another SEC team that you should probably take care of. You've got a bad Texas State team and a Texas A&M team who has struggled, but who will be very, very, very much up for that series. But really, looking at the rest of Texas's schedule, you've got a favorable finish to the end of the schedule here, going into the last month and a half of the regular season, before the SEC tournament is at the end of May. Texas could end this season on a very big streak, because their last ranked opponent that is remaining on their schedule was Georgia. Now that could obviously change by the time they reach some of these other opponents. Like
the Texas website doesn't have the rank. Arkansas is number 1 in the country right now.
Oh, I didn't see Arkansas on there. My bad. Yeah, there's
they still have the number 1 team in the country on the schedule coming up, and that'll be a big one. Florida's unranked, but still not a bad team. But yeah, I thought you were just going off the schedule. And then OU, did they drop out of the rankings? They did. But OU, is another team that was top 10 not too long ago.
Right.
Some of these SEC teams are ranked going into it, and they're do really good against really good non-conference teams like in Oklahoma did. Then you drop out of the rankings because you lose, just like Kentucky, you lose a few series 1-2 against top 10 teams, and all of a sudden you're unranked. It's a little deceiving. And so still tough series left, but Texas is going to be favored in probably all the series left on their schedule other than one.
Yep. And that's why these are so important, because you have to win the ones that you're favored to win. So
especially in the SEC.
Especially in the SEC, especially come conference play. So, all right, Jake. Well, that is going to do it for today's episode of All In Horns. Again, Monday through Friday, we drop these episodes at noon. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll keep giving you great content as long as we possibly can. We appreciate everybody. For Jake Jimerson, I'm Tanner Carlson. This has been your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.